And I'm Debbie, and together
we are the Roundtable Recap. Hey, welcome back. We're on Amazing Race, season 38, episode 9. And the teams now all have to fly to Athens, Greece, which evens up the playing field because they're all on the same plane. And once they land, it's a live double U-turn. So they have to vote in front of one another, two teams that have to do both detours. And I was kind of surprised actually by this vote because being strategic, I would have easily voted for Jazz and Jack and Eric and Tucker because those two teams have been pretty much leading the way this whole time.
Right. And the only thing I didn't like was usually so the last leg was a non-elimination leg, and so Joseph and Adam should have gotten another challenge to do. And instead they get one vote as their I don't know. I was like, no, that did not seem right to me, it should have been something, because usually not only did they get up on the same plane, so it evened the playing field. I mean, they really didn't lose anything for coming in last and almost being eliminated on the last leg. Like, there was really no penalty for them.
That's true. It wasn't very much of a repercussion. Yeah, that it made it seem like it was going to be.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't like that, but yeah, I agree. I think the strategy should have been Tucker and Eric, which obviously a lot of people.
Yeah.
And and Jazz and Jack, but I don't Joseph, because he didn't want to vote. He left it up
he's
to
like,
Adam.
no, you do it, Adam. He's like, the decision's in your hand, because he was torn between having this alliance with Jazz and Jack, and then he was torn between Taylor, because that's his ex, so he didn't want to have any hurt feelings. And then what happened? They basically got into a tie between Jazz and Jack and Taylor and Kyland, where Eric and Tucker, they already knew they were going to have to do both detours. But yeah. And then essentially because Joseph and Adam again didn't. I mean, they said they're like, we're going for the tiebreaker where both teams will have to do it.
Right. Yeah. I know Taylor was upset because Joseph didn't back her up. I mean, he basically just took himself out. I think he was too emotionally tied to both teams. But so that left 3 teams in the double U-turn and 3 teams not.
Yeah. And then when they broke up after this, I thought it was funny because they have to go find the guy for the next clue, and most of the teams followed suit, but it was only Izzy and Paige and Jack and Chelsea that chose to go a different way. And I'm like, why wouldn't you go with the leading teams?
I know.
Follow suit.
At this point in the game, do you think you know more than them?
Just go with them. And because again, they got lost and they fell behind where they could have just easily been with the main group.
The other thing I was going to say, back to that voting, I remember Izzy and Paige brought up about Taylor and Kyland's vote, because they were like all pro women, and
she made the whole speech of like, this is a male dominating game and whatnot, and then they vote for Izzy and Paige. Like, what did they say? Something about the hip oh my gosh, I can't talk. I was like, I mean, it's spot on, because she was so emotional and spewing this huge speech, but in not even a minute later, it's like, here you go.
She votes for. Are they the only? I think they're the only female. Yeah, they are.
Team. That's why she was like, she's being a hypocrite to exactly what she just said.
Because she could have voted for any other team.
Mhm.
Yeah, the irony.
Mhm.
I had to mention that.
So the two detours that they have to do is where they have to go get a Laterna, and they have to move it from the spot, then set it up and play for at least 10 coins. And then
€10.
10 euros. And then the other
Right.
one is to taste and identify 10 different olives. So,
Yeah.
which this really showed just how far behind Izzy and Paige and Chelsea and Jack were,
Right.
because
Mhm.
the teams that had to do the double detours, like so Jazz and Jack, they had no issues, and they like moved
Right.
on and were at the olives before anybody else.
Right.
And
Yeah, because I worried about them I was like, oh no, is this going to be another ethnic thing, because they're trying to get €10. But yeah, they had no problem.
yeah, actually that kind of crossed my mind too, because I was like, oh, I don't know. Just because of, unfortunately, with the taxis that we've seen on the
Right.
past episodes. But yeah, no, they had no
Yeah.
issues. And they actually were one of the few teams that got everything they were supposed to
Right.
get, because
Yeah.
Tucker and Eric, they got the stand, but they dropped their collection bowl.
Basket.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the other two teams, they didn't even take the stand. They just took the
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah. Joseph and Adam didn't take
Uh-huh.
the stand, and it was
Taylor.
Kylan and Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Chelsea and Jack on their way to the olives, they got lost. Story of their race.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Navigation issues again.
Yep. But yeah, they showed up there, and then with Tucker and Eric, they showed up to the olives before they got there, because Izzy and Paige and Taylor and Chelsea and Jack, those two teams, they didn't have to do the double detours, so they just went straight to the olives, and
Right.
they were there after some of these teams.
Right. Yeah, because Jazz and Jack, I put for the olives, because none of them really had a issue with the music, other than like you said, forgetting a couple things, but they were able to recover from that. But for the olives, yeah, Jazz and Jack were the first. After completing the one detour, then they go to the olive detour. Jazz and Jack are the first ones at the olives, and they finish first.
Yeah, they got it in their first attempt. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. And then the second one was Eric and
Tucker. They also got it in one attempt.
Yeah. And then finally, Izzy and Paige show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this is where they were able to move up in the ladder, and then Jack and Chelsea, I have it took only 2 attempts, but Kylan and Taylor, they struggled with the olives, where it took 5.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It seemed like they kept getting the same ones wrong. It was those black olives. They kept getting the same ones wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when one of their attempts, they only mislabeled, was it 1 or 2 of them? And then then the next go around, they mislabeled even more. But yeah, that one was tricky. And then, this episode, they had a lot of challenges they had to go through, because even after the detours, then the next challenge was they had to roll the boulder up the hill.
Right.
And really, no one really struggled here per se. It was just hard, but they all managed to get it up the hill. But this is where Jazz and Jack were able to also get ahead of Joseph and Adam.
Are you talking about the boulder still, or are you talking about
the boulder? Because Joseph and Adam, they did the instrument, but they didn't have to do both detours. So once they were done getting their coins, they were already at the boulder. But Jazz and Jack, went ahead of them, and they did both detours. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, they were breezing through.
Yeah, they were moving. Yeah. So then after the boulder, then it
was the roadblock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This was the Greek alphabet.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny because Jack, he did it for the duo, and he memorized the alphabet. But then when he went there, so when he went to go and do the letters, he just was doing it in the way he memorized it, and it was like all X's, like all wrong. He was like, "Oh,
He didn't even look. He didn't even
no,
look at the symbols. He's
no,
just like,
yeah, yeah." And then what was it? Joseph is the one who was there, and so he's like, "Well, let's try to work together to memorize this." But they kind of fell apart in the middle
yeah.
there.
I thought that was strange. That it was Jack that said, "Let's work together," and Joseph's like, "Okay," but then I don't know. Every time it showed Jack at the board learning it, you didn't see Joseph, and then I'm like, well, how are they even working together? Because every time the camera shows them, they're not together. So
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
sure how that was going to work out. But yeah. Then Jack just said, "Forget it."
yeah, yeah. And this was hard for a lot of the teams because they didn't make it, but it was quite a few attempts. I mean, I think the one
Right.
who did the best was Chelsea because
Right.
she got it in her second attempt. Um,
Right.
Taylor got it in 5, and then I have Paige and Jack. They did it in 5, or no, Taylor did it in 3. I think I said 5, and then Joseph. It
Yes.
took him 7, and oh yeah, this is
Yeah, it
where.
was a good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was a good thing that Joseph was so far ahead of the other teams because he needed that extra time. But yeah, I just felt bad for Tucker.
I know, and I mean, I this one was just a surprise elimination for me because I I thought Tucker and Eric they were gonna take. I mean, they were big competitors. I
Right.
really thought they were gonna be like the final two. So,
Yeah.
um, unfortunately, yeah, Tucker just could not memorize them, and it took him 10 attempts where it was down to him and Taylor. And the only reason Taylor was there was just because that's when they got there. Um,
Right.
because again, she got it in 3 where he got it in 10, and so yeah, they ended up being last. But I mean, it kind of
Mm.
at the end of this, it kind of evened up everybody because other than Jazz and Jack, who were obviously
Right.
winning the lead,
Right.
um, the other teams coming in, I mean, they were like back to back, like they almost like meshed together, and they were all there at the
Right.
pit
Yeah.
stop at the end checking in. So
Yeah. I was sad to see Tucker and Eric get eliminated because I think they could have won. They could have won this. I think at that Greek alphabet, I think Tucker just. I mean, you could see. I think there was a point where he just kind of gave up. It looked like he wasn't even trying, and then when it was just him and Taylor, then he really tried again. But there was a point. I think he just
yeah.
gave up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really hard for him to memorize them. Yeah. And I mean, I think I want to say too, like some of his attempts, there was only like one that he missed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that I think that's where he was frustrated because he knew that he couldn't remember which of the ones was he getting wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely an unfortunate turn of events the way that this one
Yeah.
turned out for them.
Yeah, that was sad. I thought that was a sad, and especially because Joseph and Adam, I don't think it was fair that they really didn't get a
No.
penalty.
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
anything, they should have been
one
like one
vote.
of the teams that had to do the detours, the W
Yes.
turns,
Yeah.
and then everyone
Yeah.
voted on another team.
Yeah. I think that would have been a fair, much more fair than saying you have one vote because they weren't on anybody's radar. Who cares about one vote?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they could have been made to do both detours. I think. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, we'll see who comes up in the teams. Who starts to try to take over Jazz and Jack.
Yeah.
They may win this. So we'll see how
Yeah.
everything plays out as the race continues. See you guys next week.
Yay.